Hello, my name is Troy Johnson, and I'm a reporter from the Orion, and I'm here with Lieutenant Chris right now. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good.
That's good. That's good. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I am 44. I just came to the university about 9 months ago. I came here last August as a lieutenant, so I've been with the campus under a year. Prior to coming here, I spent 22 years with Sacramento PD and went through the ranks there, officer, field training officer, detective, three different task forces as an investigator, promoted to a sergeant, did patrol, went back into specialty units, ran regional transit, which was the bus and rail system down there, law enforcement for it. Went back to the detective side and was a detective sergeant for a while, and then opportunity came up here at the campus, so I'm up here.
Okay.
I live in Chico. I'm married. I got a couple of kids that are teenagers, and got lots of animals. Got a couple horses, 3 dogs, a cat.
So what are some common misconceptions that people have about the UPD in general?
I think, the level of law enforcement service that we have, it's kind of unique because it's a campus law enforcement system, but they're state of California police officers, so we can enforce laws anywhere in California, and we do a lot of mutual aid stuff with other universities, both in the California state system and University of California system. So like UC Davis, we'll go down there. UC Berkeley will go down there. CSU is all over the place. Like, there's a lot of interaction with everybody. So even though we're just, mainly concentrated at Chico State, these guys do stuff all over the place. And we're full service agency. We've got investigations. We've got a whole training division. We got a lot going on, and we're constantly working and training and expanding.
How do you guys deal with the homeless and the population where they at with respect and dignity?
Well, we treat everybody with respect and dignity, whether they're, homeless in between places or just anybody else that we come across in public. So one of the biggest things with that is recognizing when criminal activity is going on versus when somebody's just kind of down on their luck and needs some help. And we'll enforce the heavy stuff. If somebody gets assaulted, somebody gets victimized, somebody gets their property stolen or something like that, and we have the ability to take care of it and help them, we will. But small, low-level stuff, that's not helping solve a problem. So we would much rather help provide resources, get that person connected, get them off the streets, so that they have the ability to kind of stand up on their own, right? Give them some support and resources to get them standing up, and then they're moving in the right direction. Otherwise, you're just going to keep burying them in paper and court. So.
How does your family cope with knowing you have such a dangerous job, and how do you balance your work and your family life?
So I've done a pretty good job of being able to flip the switch, and when I go home, I kind of turn work off. I can't do that 100% because we're always on call as managers. So if something significant happens at the campus, my job is to go back and help manage whatever critical incident's going on. So, being able to really kind of flip that switch when I'm home, having quality time with my wife and my kids, being active in their activities. You can see my family text threads going on crazy right now.
So, when you ever go out in the field and y'all about to, I know it's probably rare that it happen, but y'all get into some real needy stuff. Do you ever get scared, or have you ever been scared before?
Oh yeah. I mean, that happens to everybody, and it doesn't matter what environment you're in. The work at the campus is probably, throttles down a little bit less than like a large municipal police department, but I've been scared dozens of times. And you just, you kind of calculate your risks and use your training and the equipment and your peers and the resources that you have. When I first got here, a couple months into it, working here at the campus, I got into a tussle with a student that was going through some mental health issues, and I was scared about that because I had a gun on me, and if he would have got me with a lucky punch or something and knocked me out, now you have somebody who's going through a mental issue that's got access to a firearm on our campus.
So what made you want to be a cop? How did this all start?
So I grew up in a really, really small town. How long have you been on the campus?
I've been on campus for the last 5-6 years now.
You remember the Dixie Fire? Kicked off last year and went up You know the campfire that burned up?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So after the campfire was the Dixie Fire, and the Dixie Fire basically went the other way, and it burned up my hometown. I grew up in Greenville, which is about an hour, kind of like up the foothills.
Okay.
And anyway, so I'm from Greenville, and that's a real small town. There's more people on this road right now than live in that town, or lived in that town before it burned up. But the road that I lived on, where my parents lived, had like 2 sheriff's deputies and a CHP guy and a fire guy. And because it's so small, when something big happens, they all go, like even if they're at home. Like if they're at home, they're on call and they get called out for something big. So from time to time, something big would happen, and you can see the sheriff's cars go and the highway patrol car go, and those guys, they'd come back and I'd be talking to my neighbors and stuff, and they're like, "What happened?" "Oh, we had to go help this car that drove off the side of the road and went down the canyon, and then it'd be a search and rescue call out, or we had to go do this or that." And so I started hearing those stories, and I started seeing those guys, those deputies and the CHP guy that lived down the road from us, and they really kind of became like my role models, my heroes. And I really kind of started like looking up to them, and then from there I did a ride along, kind of like what we're doing now, but in a patrol car, and was like, oh, that's what I want to do. So
when you spoke to our cuss about like talking about cases of police brutality in news, did you see the footage of Tyre Nichols and getting beat, and how did you feel about it? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, that was pretty disgusting. What I would say about that is, those cops in Memphis, that team that they were talking about, they were driving around in unmarked cars, and they're kind of plain clothes with vests on and stuff. The best way I could describe that is that those guys weren't cops, and you can kind of see with the way society and law enforcement's evolving, and the scrutiny and just all the stressors behind it, you could kind of see the writing on the wall for a failure like that to come, because that team was a team of I don't know how many guys were on it, but there was 6 guys directly involved in it, rolling around at night in unmarked cars, trying to be proactive, trying to be aggressive against crime, which there's something to be said for that. But there's no supervisor, there's no sergeant, and they're running basically without any oversight, any accountability.
Yeah,
we would never look at that. Like,
you don't want to. Y'all have this, like, people have a misconception on y'all. Y'all don't want stuff to escalate. You want to make stuff easier on the other person. So like, how do you think y'all uphold that to like a real high degree than most places do?
I think so. I think that there's contrast there that's important to recognize, though.
Yeah.
A good police officer uses the tools that they have, right? If a police officer only carried a firearm and got into a use of force incident, their only option is using a firearm, right? But if they have a taser or pepper spray or baton or some other canine or something to utilize those tools, like, they utilize the best tool for the job, and a good officer utilizes their tools. A contact with somebody might be something as simple as like a brake light out.
Yeah.
But if it's a brake light out and that person's illegally carrying a gun in the car, and their contact, they learn about it, or they go like through an investigative process or something, like something along those lines. Like, I consider good police work somebody who treats somebody fair. Let me back up so this guy gets a little bit more space. Treats somebody fair and treats somebody with courtesy and respect, but at the same time, I totally expect, a police officer to be enforcing the law. And if they recognize that, like, they pull somebody over for, brake light out, and then they run that person, and they find out they got a warrant for domestic violence or drugs or arson or something like that, like, they're not going to stop and not keep moving on, right? So on face value, it might be a really basic contact that might escalate into something big, but that's kind of like quality police work. So there is a section of law enforcement and fighting crime that's applicable and that's appropriate.
All right, man, you got me wanting to be a cop again.
See? And we didn't even hop in a patrol car, man. We're just rolling around having a
Well,
conversation.
I appreciate that, Lieutenant
I didn't show
Chris.
you any like tools or
Man,
guns,
you
put a
got
vest
me.
on you or anything. So
Shout out to the camera crew. Appreciate you guys, man. Yep.
silent witnesses in the back. So
Yep. I'm good.